Righty, welcome to In the Box. Thanks for coming on the show, mate. Now, I ain't sure who's going to be more upset about missing their holiday in Mallorca this summer, me or you.
Don't, mate, don't get me started. It's a pleasure coming on. I've seen some bits you've been doing, and fair play to you. Anything like this at this time, what's going on is good and a positive. So well done, making the most of a tough situation. So good luck to you, and it's a pleasure to come on.
Thank you very much, mate, and it's nice to see you. How's things anyway, and how's lockdown going, mate?
Not bad. Listen, it's weirdly, it seems like it's been a hell of a long time, but it's also flown by. Like, I can't understand it. How each day and week just keeps going. Like you've got, little bits and bobs as you get to in each week. Like you hit Tuesday, you know what you're watching or what you're eating, what you're doing. Then Thursday, you get with all the clapping we've been doing. So each thing you think, right, it's another one of them, and before you know it, another week goes. It's crazy, but it's I've made the most of it. Obviously, I'm missing all sorts of life, especially what we all love, the sport and the football, and obviously going day to day. That's been very, very tough, and now we probably should be done with the season and feet up for a little bit, enjoying the holidays that we all look forward to. So times like that, it's difficult and frustrating, but I've stayed active, I've stayed fit. I've been doing a lot of training, running, conditioning, football type stuff, using the weights that I can, strengthening a load of circuits, and I've probably dropped a couple of kilos, dropped some body fat. It's amazing. Like even when you're in the season, you need to fuel, you need to eat. You find yourself maybe pigging out sometimes or making up for the fact you played a game, and you probably end up being a little bit heavier at times of that. Where now I can watch the diet so much, I've gone so zoned into it, and I'm probably a little bit too lean and light if I was going into a football game. I'm feeling good for what I'm doing now. So look, it's been difficult. I've got me and my wife and 2 dogs. We're fortunate enough to live in a nice area, nice place. We can get out walking. The weather's been good. Yeah. And we've just stayed active and made the most of it. And listen, I'm hoping, like everyone, it slowly eases off. But the main thing is staying fit and healthy for everyone. So that's the main thing. Yeah,
no, definitely. Totally agree with you. Right. Team time then, the reason why you're on team time. Now, I normally ask players their thought process behind their team, but I know yours. I think you're just putting as many names as possible, isn't it?
Listen, do you know what? It's actually at my age now, with being 30, it becomes difficult. You try and think back to who you've played with and what you've done, and you think, who was the best in that position? Who's the best? And sometimes it could be that someone just caught your eye. Sometimes it could be that someone was... I tried to steer away from someone that was unbelievable, like a little magician in training, but maybe didn't produce or do enough at the club when I was with him. Yeah. I've tried to not, although I'm contradicting myself here, because I've thrown a few in that I played with at England, sort of youth level growing up, but where they've gone on to have such good careers, I'm like, hang on, I've been on a football pitch with them and played over 20 times, whatever, 30 times. How can I not put them in? Yeah, so I put them in, but then I've tried to steer away from players who maybe I just played with 2-3 times, who have top names in the football world, if you like. But I was like, I didn't really see enough of them for me to comment. But at the same time, I have. So I've tried to mix it up. I've given you 11, as you know. But I've also got another 12, 14 names here, and could throw more. And then you start to throw more in there. I've played with at club level and played with probably 30, 40, 50, 60 plus times. Yeah. But there's even more. You think, you go through things and you think, how have I left him out? It's difficult. He's a friend. I had a good relationship. We worked well together, so it's like sometimes you might leave better players out than someone you got on with well and had a good relationship in terms of on the pitch and off the pitch. So, listen, I've given you a team. At the end of the day, I've played with them, I've trained with them, played football games with them, so I suppose it counts.
No, exactly, mate. And you know what? To be honest, so many people since I've been doing it have like asked me like, what would yours be, blah blah. And it is difficult, and that's why I'm glad I'm asking and I'm hosting, not doing them, to be honest. But anyway, like you could ask
me in 6 months. 6 months' time, and I could pull out another 8 different names because he comes to mind. I've played with someone else. It's football, you know how it is.
Exactly, mate. And to be fair, if I'd played for England's under 19s, I'd probably had the old squad in him anyway. So, right, we'll start off then in goal. Who have you got? Who have you gone for?
I went with Mike Taylor. He's obviously had a very good career, Northern Ireland international as well. Yeah. I'll tell you why I went for him. I found the goalkeeper one quite difficult, even going back to my England days and stuff like that. Listen, we're outfield players, we're footballers. It's hard to, not hard, but you sometimes think, what do you look at in a keeper? Nowadays, it's how good they are on the ball distribution. Yeah. Sometimes it's the shot stopping, the saving, that sort of stuff. But I went with Mike because I'm still in contact with him now. He's at Walsall. Yeah. He became the goalkeeping coach at Bradford last year, and he was a proper pro when I played with him. He came in at Millwall. We had best part of a season with a spell he was there, but he really come in and steadied the ship in that department. He got himself in there, got himself as to be number one at that time. Yeah. He was battling with David Ford, who by the way is a top goalkeeper who come to mind about when I was trying to pick this. And he was just a fantastic voice, a fantastic leader. And at his age, he was still so agile, and he gave us so much during a season where we stayed up. We ended up staying up comfortably, but he really just steadied the ship. And he was very good with me, very good around the place. And I looked at his career as well, but he was still, even at that stage, his distribution, his leadership, his shot stopping, his agility. And I thought about it. There was others I could have put in. I mentioned Fordy there. Yeah. I've got Joe Murphy written down here, another Irishman who I believe represented Ireland. I had a couple of great seasons with him at Scunthorpe. He was a top goalkeeper. Yeah. But Mike just tipped him to it, and he, as I say, he just had a bit of everything. He had a fantastic career. I still speak to him now. He was a great servant, if you like, but a great leader as well, and a mentor to sort of younger pros, which I was at the time. And as I say, he's had a fantastic career that a lot of goalkeepers would like to have.
Yeah, for sure. I think when I was doing my homework, 88 caps for his country, so over 500 league appearances. So it's not a bad start to your team, mate. Right, now on to your back four. Now it is a back four, but I think we'll start with the fullbacks, and I think I've noted down you've gone for two left backs basically.
I have. I'll tell you why I've done it, because Ryan Bertrand I put in at left back. Yeah. When I played with him at England youth level, and I've still played against him and seen him since. He was just at that time, the way football's going, with athleticism and pace and power, he had that then. That's when I sort of started seeing many other players that I was with at the time. And I thought, how can I leave someone who's got on to have such a fantastic Premier League career, if you like? And I'm thinking it's going to be hard to leave him out. But at the same time, I had Conch, who's still a good friend of mine. I still speak to him now. We had a good season or a little bit longer at Gillingham, and he filled in at one or two different positions there. And I thought, listen, there's no stopping a player of his ability in Conch playing at left back or right back. He'd do you a job. Cool. Do you know what I mean? And I went through it, and right back, I probably found the goalkeeper and right back the toughest of them all. Yeah. To be able to choose someone. So I thought, you know what, I can put him in there. I've played with a few other right backs in my career who I could have put in. Ryan Jackson at Gillingham, I had a great spell with him. He's at Colchester now. Well, he's actually seems like he's just leaving, but he's got all sorts of ability, and I feel could play a lot higher in the game. So he could have got in there, as well as one or two others or a few others. But I thought, you know what, it happens sometimes, and players of their ability, there's no stopping Conch slipping in at right back and having Ryan Bertrand at left back, and two great servants of the game, and Bertrand still going and Conch only just finishing, but fit as a fiddle, was fantastic pro, and both played at the top level internationally and at club level.
Yeah, no arguments to that, and it's just clear that up for me mate Barnsley, Sam Barnes, who does my design work on the teams when I put them on Instagram, because he'll have to work out what one to put right back. Right, centre halves. Who you gone for?
I went with again, dipping back into my younger days, played against him a lot, played with him a little bit, sort of real youth level at West Ham, but we had a great relationship in my England sides. I run with him as well, James Tompkins. Okay. And I think he's underrated in the game. I think West Ham were silly to let him go or sell him, whatever way you want to look at it. I think he was a fantastic player. He's good in both boxes, and that's what I love in a centre half. He's also vocal. He's a leader. But he's defensively very, very good, but he's also a threat at the other end. Mm-hmm. So it was very hard for me not to include James Tompkins. Again, throughout my career, I've played with some top centre-halves. I don't know how many I've written down here in terms of not many more in terms of centre-half department on the other sheet. But Tomps was a top player, still is a top player. I think a lot of Premier League sides would love to have him. He's doing a great job at Palace, and he was a top lad as well. I really got on well with him. And alongside him, I had obviously when I was at Southend, I probably caught him at the wrong end of his career, but Anton Ferdinand. Okay. But again, a good friend, was at my wedding. Not the only reason why I put him in, but just you could see over the years watching him at West Ham growing up as a kid. Yeah. Proper player. Obviously got his brother Rio's footsteps to follow, if you like. So he probably didn't get as much credit because of how good having been a brother, one of the best centre halves in the world, as we know him, Rio. But Anton, vocally, technically on the ball, defensively, obviously lost that little bit of mobility and athleticism by the time I met him. But you could just see it. At times he did do stuff, and I was like, you could see what a proper player he was playing against him and with him. So it was hard for me to leave Anton. Although I got him, I finished with him at the end of his career when he was playing, but I could still see the ability, obviously, throughout the years and when I played with him. So it was, again, I could have gone on to many other centre halves, youngsters who I played with coming up. Max Amer at Gillingham, for me, could be playing a lot higher. Mm-hmm. And that's just one out of a few. But I would go with, obviously, Anton and James Tompkins just because of their careers, but also when I played with them, they were top players.
Yeah, no problems with that. Especially, I think Tompkins there. I was always surprised that he didn't, maybe after he left West Ham, he didn't go on to like a real top club. Yeah,
no, it is slightly surprising.
Right, go on then. Midfield 4. What are you going to do with these?
This was probably centre midfield. Weirdly, I don't know if it's because I'm a midfielder and maybe I blanked it or I was blinded to it. I struggled to really pick some. My early days, like I'll name them now. I've got them written down here. I've got, like, in terms of club level, I could have had Matty Holland in there with the career he had. I played with him, obviously, in Charlton's first team. John Joe Shelby, the career and the ability he's got was second to none, which I could see at young, but I only played that one or two games with him as well.
Yeah,
so it's like, how do you do? Like, do I not? But they could have easily got in there. I've got Ryan Mason, who's in here, who came to Millwall on loan. Played a fair few games with him and bless him, had to end his career early, but obviously was a top player. And another one that just sprung to mind for me was John Lundstrom. He came to Orient a couple of times on loan from Everton, I think he was at the time, and you could see the ability he had then, and now what he's doing at Sheffield United shows what he had and what he's got. So that's after I'd given you the team, I was like, could have easily have put him in as well. But there's been many others, mate, like training with people like Danny Murphy and some of the Charlton first trained with. At England days, I had a boy called Josh Walker who I thought was going to hit all sorts of heights, mate. He was for me.
From Borough? Is it Borough?
Borough.
Yeah,
when I played with him at England, mate. He was the one I would say out of all of the names that we're going to go on to, the one or two that I've mentioned, who I thought was the best.
Really?
And he's probably playing alongside, probably one of the best midfielders I've played alongside, that the ability he had. And I can't believe what happened with his career, mate. I don't know how and why, but it has. You see it many a times.
Yeah, cool.
He could have got in it. Jack Cork, played with a lot, who's gone on to have a very good career, and one or two others. But they're the ones who I've named, obviously, who I've put in my team. As I said to you, I put Darren Ambrose in it, and I played him in centre mid. He could be more of a 10, could be more of a wide, because when I used to train with him and when I played with him in those few games, the ability he had, mate, was very, 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 very good. Technically, he was one of the best I've played with.
Yeah.
And I just don't know why he sprung to mind. So I thought I'd put him in. He went on to obviously have a top career. And then not just because he's my mate, but just because of the season that he had when I played with him, or a couple of seasons, and where I feel we could go. And again, not an out-and-out centre midfield. I've gone with 4-4-2 just because of the front four, really. I couldn't fit him in. But Bradley Dack, who's now at Blackburn, obviously I was at Gillingham with him. Yeah. He obviously was at Charlton as a kid. He had a bit of a rough ride with getting released from there, and I think he debated a few things. But he's got sheer raw ability, mate. He's got natural strength, natural power. And that season he had at Gillingham, he got his move in the end. He didn't get it that year, but he obviously the next season he wasn't quite as good, but because of how good people knew he was. And I still think he can go on. He's just suffered a bad injury, but the season, just because of how good he was in that year when I first signed for Gillingham, he hit the ground running in that first game against Sheffield United. He's top player, mate. And I put him in there. Again, he's more of a number 10, but he could play any of them roles, number 8s. Yeah. And he's got goals, he's got strength, he's got his passing ability, his touch, his skill. He's got natural ability in terms of running and what word do I want to say? Not desire. Yeah, he's got desire, but he's got that tenaciousness to him, where he's got that flair, but he's also got that other side to him. So I had to put Dak in there. So I've just named a fair few other centre midfielders there. I could have easily listen. Some of them that I've said there, they've had ridiculous careers, and they're thinking, now does he get? But just because of that one season, mate, I had to put Daki in there. So I've gone with those two centre midfielders.
Yeah, I can't argue with you there, mate. Anyway, because Darren Ambrose, like growing up, obviously watching a lot of Charlton, like technique-wise, he was superb, and obviously Daki for me, you know, someone who I'm very close with myself, had him on the show as well, and you know, a lot of people don't know he used to clean my boots as well, which I never let him forget. But no, listen, I'm totally with you there, and you kind of answered my question on Bradley there, but you know, we both know him very well, both close with him, and in terms of the injury he has just sustained, when I did speak to him, it was pleasing to hear that, you know, I think he's very determined to come back from that. Do you feel like he could be a Premier League player?
You know what? We've got each other on the old Apple Watches, and Daki would be first to admit, and I think if you asked him this, he'd say it. We used to have banter. He used to say to me, "Oh, you're this, you're that, you're busy." Only for banter, like friendly. You do a lot of training, and he got away with it because he was quite natural. But all of a sudden, I think since he's gone to Blackburn, because he's stepped up a level, seen bigger and better pros around him, and he knows he has to at that level. Yeah. But since the injury, I think it's really given him an eye opener that the amount of other work that you can and need to do. Yeah. And he's doing a lot of strength training, he's doing functional training, extra training, and getting himself back fit and strong. And I think he's doing it at a time that's not too late because he's still got age on his side. But the injury could be, without sounding wrong, a blessing in disguise, because it's given him a chance to go, right, come away from the games. Come away from the game training. Now doing a lot of other stuff. And I think if he comes back and keeps himself fit and strong, and the way he could come back a different man, he's got a hell of a chance of still getting himself into the Premier League if he can continue his form, which he was doing.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you there, right? Especially, you know, having spent time with him and stuff. I think, you know, the way he come through at Gillingham and then the way he's gone on to Blackburn, I'm sure he's improved his sort of off the field activities and stuff and what he eats and stuff like that. But I feel like a lot of the time at Gillingham, he was just playing off the cuff sort of thing, just doing it off habit, off natural ability. Like you said, I think you mentioned it, raw ability. But I think in terms of that can only get you so far, especially now in the modern day. I feel like if he wants to really kick on to the top league, then I feel like he has to, you know,
he needed to do the other side. Just need to find a bit more focus, a little bit more focus and dedication, which he's found. And I think if he can continue that, keep working, because he could play a number of positions off the front man, in the 10, in the 8. There'd be no stopping him. So hopefully he does.
No, totally agree with that. And like we say, being both so close with him, hopefully he can prove us right. Okay, wide players.
With the wide players, I'll tell you what, I know I've sent it over to you, but I'm going to change one just because he at club level I played with him. So I'm going to go with Theo Walcott on the right.
Cool.
Just because, mate, it was one day we had a game. I think we were playing France, and I stuck a ball over. It's a true story. I stuck a ball over the top, or from the left-hand side to right-hand side diag, and I thought I overhit it. It was a bit of not a training game, but a game leading up to like a championship, Euro Championship. We played France. I think it was France. And as I turned away, because I thought he weren't going to get it because I'd overhit it with the pace, he out and out pace got him there. Simply sheer pace. And someone said, I turned around and he got it, and he went into the box, done so. I don't think we scored from it, but I literally couldn't believe it, because 9.5 times out of 10, no players getting it. And with that, mate, I had a spell with him. He didn't always play at our age, because he was playing up, and then, as you remember, Sven took him to the World Cup at such a young age and things like that. But his ability, mate, or more so his pace. I think some people are gifted with that pace, but he had ability with it. Yeah. But just some of the stuff he'd do, he'd get the ball, knock it past people, and you're like, how can you even compete with that? You do 1v1s with him or stuff like that, there's not a chance you're living with him. You've got no chance. Yeah. And me being not blessed with pace, it really, when you see someone with pace, it's like, wow, that sort of stuff. So it's different to some of the players we've been talking about, like your Darren Ambrose and one or two others who have got that ability on the ball and technique. Yeah, no, of course, yeah. Theo had more pace and that power, if you like, and I just thought to myself, how can I not put him in? Do you know what I mean? So I've got Theo on the right-hand side, and I'll tell you why I'm changing the left. I've got Scott Sinclair, who was a great kid as well, got on really well with a lovely boy, had a great career since. But I played with Jason Punchin. I had a great year at Barnet, my first loan spell. Yeah. And he won Player of the Year. I won Young Player of the Year at 17, 18, and we had a very good relationship as well. We should link up well. Mm-hmm. And Punch has got all sorts of ability, and of course he's gone on to have a very, very good Premier League career. He's obviously got himself into one or two bits of bother, over the year. But I think with that shows, yes, maybe could have done that a little bit more. But when you're a bit distracted in life and for whatever reason you go off path, but he still hung in there and had such a good career at top flight, shows his ability. So I'm going to put Punch in there on the left-hand side because I played at club level with him and I want to try and get a few more club players in there to try and get it half and half at least. And the ability he's got. But going through it, mate, that same year I had Yannick Bolasie, who had a fantastic year. Obviously, he's gone on to have a top career. And then I've got a couple of, not mates, but a couple of, well, they are mates, but at the same time had very good careers and good players who could have easily got in my team who, if I was a manager, I'd have all day long around me. Yeah. One being a boy called Martin Wolford. I've had 3 spells of him. That's why I say it. I had 3 spells. I was with him at Scunthorpe. We had a great couple of years. Stayed up in the Championship against the odds. And again, he can play left hand in the centre. And he then came to Millwall. But also with that, who I've had a couple of spells with, Joby McAnuff, who I'm back with right now. He's probably the best, other than myself. No, I'm joking. Best pro. Or one of the best pros I've ever been around. He's had an injury issues over the last season or two, but still chalking the runs, the games when he is fit. His fitness and his physique and he's just a way of life that he lives, and his leadership and his discipline and professionalism is second to none. And with his ability with that and the career that he's had at top level, Championship level, international as well. Yeah. Very, very unlucky not to get in. If I was going all club, he probably would have got in there. So Joby has to get a very, very special mention as well. But I've gone with the other 2, Theo and Punchin. But those other 2, Wolford and McAnuff, would have easily got in there as well.
Yeah, no, perfect that. And late change there, late transfer then, Sinclair out and Punchin in there. You're going to be... if you want to get into this management game, mate, you must be a bit stronger than that, right?
I changed right at the end, but there's reasons to it because of what we're doing.
Nah, no problem, mate. No problem. It's good stuff, mate. Like you say, it just shows the career you've had there, some of the players you've played alongside. Right, up top, who did you go for?
Up top, listen, one of them is out and out, straightforward, simple facts, Millwall. In fact, we'll start with the other one. I'll start with the other one, and the only reason that's not the only reason I put him in, but I had to put him in. It was England again, but before I say his name, I could have had a few others on here, mate. I could have had Gary Hooper, one of the best finishers I've ever worked with, played with, Scunthorpe days again. Yeah. Top career he's gone on to have. I think he could have played even higher and stayed higher. One of the best finishers around, was a good mate of mine as well. Gary Hooper could have got in it. Simon Cox at Southend. He's had another very, very good career. More of a number 10 type, but real good ability. Great finisher. Andy Keogh at Millwall, another Irish international. Always caught my eye playing with him at Millwall. Loved playing with him, his movement. Even when with little free quick things, I'd look up, he'd make a bit of movement, great relationship. Yeah. And even Darius Henderson at Millwall, a big, different type, target man. But an absolute beast, brute, would have a player like that around my teams if and when I become manager all day long. But I went with the other 2. One being England days, Daniel Sturridge. His ability, mate, I still tell people now, I don't know why and what happened with his injuries. Some say it's mental, I'm not sure. I just think he could have been slightly unlucky. His ability and his finishing is absolutely unbelievable, mate. I've always said he could have been, if not the best, one of the best strikers. Which, don't get me wrong, he's been up there, one of the best strikers in the world. Yeah. I remember my debut for England against Cameroon, the Montague tournament in France. We won 2-0 or 2-1. I set up both his goals. My mum and dad were there, and my granddad. And I just remember every time I got the ball, it wasn't a second or two too early. It wasn't a second or two late. It was bang, touch. As I'd look up, his movement was there, the timing of it. And I've never not been able to comment about him ever since. For the games, I had a really, really good relationship with Studge as well. We used to room with Johnny Aluku. I used to room with James Tompkins. And we had a bit of a banter, a good laugh. It used to be us 4. And again, not just I was close with him like that. And he actually said to me at a festival a few years ago, he was asking not asking what I'm doing. He was obviously talking about where I played and stuff. And he said, he said about me, and I took it well. I took it annoying. It annoyed me as well, but at the same time, I took it with quite proudness. He said, you should be playing higher, your ability. He even said to me, used to love playing with you, one of the better players I played with in your position and stuff like that, which was nice from him. But that ain't the reason why I'm saying it. Just his ability, mate, and his finishing, as I keep repeating myself, was something I've never dealt with before. The only one who's come close with him, obviously the other player I'm about to tell you, but it was Darren Bent when I was at Charlton. I couldn't remember if I played in the first team actual game. I definitely played pre-season, but I definitely trained with him many a times and friendlies and stuff like that. I don't know if he played in the few games I played for Charlton. But Darren Bent's finishing again was a joke. When we used to do finishing in training, it was like, wow, everything he hit, just pick a corner or smash it, bang, hit the back of the net. It was like, unbelievable. But Sturridge for that reason. And then moving on, I don't think anyone would be able to disagree with me. I had a year with him, the best part of a year with him at Millwall, Harry Kane. And I think not just because of where the heights he's gone to now, we all know that he's probably one of, if not the best number 9s in the world. He came to Millwall. He hit the ground running straight away. He's another one, slightly different to Daki, but I think he always had the mental focus. He always had the dedication. Not a drinker, never used to go out a lot, had a girlfriend from a young age, married her now. Always had that professionalism about him, but probably could have done a little bit more in the gym at Millwall. He used to do a little bit, but used to just love football and love scoring goals. Would even play golf around the training ground when we had an hour spare or at the end of trade, just love kickball. But when he used to do finishing at the end of every session, whether you did it with him or you'd look back, you'd go, well, he just had this natural ability that not many players have had when I played with them or trained with them. Ball could be under his foot and he just had that strike, that natural power where he'd hit it and had that whip, but could do it both feet, shift it, give it to his right, do it on his right, do it on his left. And there's a story I'm about to tell you because it's the last player. I will tell you about it. But it was, as I say, in games, he scored however many goals that year. And the one true story is I set up 4 or 5 of his goals. I used to play sort of deeper, which I did for quite a while, that spell of my career. So he used to get a lot and he'd peel off. He wasn't the quickest, but he had a bit of he had pace that was, what's the word I'm looking for? Not hidden pace, but you might be able to get the word I'm looking for.
Deceptively quick.
Deceptive pace. That he had that bit of power that he'd be able to go. So he'd peel on the shoulder, you'd hit him over the top and bang, he'd go. And get on the end of it and score more times than not. Or a ball would drop in the box and bang, because of his natural finishing ability, he'd score on that power at such a young age. He's got a bit of freak strength, that's what I'd say. I always knew he'd hit. I said to myself, I said to people that at that time, the story, me and a boy called Scott Barron stood on steps one day looking at him doing finishing. I don't know if it was him or me, I asked the question, how high do you think he can go? And both of us came to an agreement that we said he will play Tottenham's first team and he will get an England cap. I don't think there's anyone that would have said he would have hit the heights he has now to have been an England cap, one of the best Premier League goal scorers, or will be one day, and one of Tottenham's best ever goal scorers. And as I say, hitting probably up there as the best striker in the world. But we both said that about him. But at the same time, his ability was second to none and just had that natural finishing, that natural strike of a ball, touch, and that natural freakish strength, if you like, that he's gone on to have done what he's done. He's a lovely kid. He's a disciplined kid. He always had, as I say, that focus, and playing with him was a pleasure. And good luck to him. And he's a very, very good kid. And you like to see good kids go and do well. And hopefully he can keep kicking on and doing well for Spurs or wherever that might be. And obviously for England, for everyone's sake.
I was gonna ask you on that. Do you reckon he'll stay at Spurs or do you reckon he'll move on?
If you ask me, well, people have asked me all the time and everyone discusses this over the last 7-8 years, and certainly up until the last couple of years, I've said, you know what, he's a homeboy. He's loved by Spurs. He's a Spurs legend already, and I think he'd love to stay being a Spurs legend, but do something that's quite distinct in this day and age, where someone stays at a club right the way through from a kid, all the way through, especially of that ability and top level, if you like, or someone who's so good. But I'm slowly starting to think, mate, I think the stadium was something that he wanted to give a go. I think that was partly the reason why he stayed, and the other reasons I just said. Now, with all what's gone on here with the stuttering of this season, is he starting to think he's getting to age, what is he now, 27, 8? Not even prime yet, but is he going to want to win trophies? Will he be able to win them at Spurs? Possibly with Mourinho. They're going to need backing. They've got the stadium, they've got the foundations and the base of it now. They're going to need to dip into the market. They're going to need to keep him happy. I don't think it's the out-and-out contract, although there's clubs out there that could go and offer him all sorts of silly money. We all know Spurs don't pay the best, but I'm sure he's earning a amount of money. But surely, of his ability, he's going to want to win trophies. And if you're going to be classed as one of the best strikers in the world, you probably need to back that up with a little bit of that. Some people say that. I don't always agree with that. I still think he can be classed and held as one of the best in the world, if not the best. But it'd be nice to have trophies. I'm probably leaning towards, I wouldn't be surprised. Before what's happened here, he may have got in the next year or two, but will this halt teams' money and being able to dip into the transfer market and spend what it might cost them to get a player of that ability? I wouldn't be surprised if he goes, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if he stayed there for the rest of his career.
Yeah, no, for sure. Be an interesting one, especially, like I say, with what's going on in the world at the moment. See how that affects the situation. I'm glad you said Scotty Barron was fancies him, by the way, because he's an agent these days. So it'd have been a bit embarrassing for him if he said he wasn't no good.
Scotty's always got a good mind on football, and he knows a player. So there's no shock that he is an agent now.
Yeah, no, I've seen him quite a bit recently. So it's good to know that
good lad.
He called it right. Yeah, great lad. Right, Josh, that completes your team, mate, and superb team. And to be fair, you probably mentioned the most players there as well, which is good because, like anything you do, you take it seriously, and you've done it properly, mate. And like
there's one other unlucky player. Well, there's a few who could have been, but he is a very close mate of mine. But if he never suffered the injuries he did, and a few other little things, stop-start stuff in his life, he'd have gone on. But he's still involved in football. But he's my boy Grant Basie.
Yeah.
He at a young age, we had a great relationship. Still do now, but he had that hunger and drive in him. I love the passion to win, and he had all sorts of. His left foot, mate. His left foot was a wand and power that he had in it as well. And he's very unlucky not to have had a much better and longer career in the game. So he was unlucky not to slip in at left back. It's just that the couple that were ahead of him, Dorian agreed it's very difficult to get past them.
That's good, mate, and I think you'll have to thank me for that one because I'll text you. But as you agreed to do it the other week, and last week, and you sent me your team, I bumped into Base, and he's all good and well, and he's been supportive of the podcast as well. So I think he's going to try and sort a couple of guests out for me as well. So.
He's a good lad, Grant. Another one who could have got in at right back only because he got injured recently. He's an up and coming player. He's at Bradford now. He played in Man United's first team. Joe Riley, his name is.
Okay.
He's got a great chance of having a very, very good career. He suffered a bad injury, but he's got all sorts of ability, and if he gets himself going again, he'll have a great chance. And in 10 years' time, could look back and say that he could have easily have got in this team. So Joe Riley, his name is at Bradford now.
Perfect. One to watch out for. Thanks, Josh. Thanks for that. Absolutely perfect. That loads of snippets of information in there. Right, it's good. We've got that done fairly quickly because now we can move on to sort of your career. Some stuff, some serious questions, some fun questions, and we'll crack on, mate. Right, we spoke about the players you played with there, of course, but just go to show how much of a good career you have had so far. What about players you played against? Who stood out?
Played against who stood out? There's been many. I'll go straight to number one. Played Spurs a couple of seasons ago in the Cup. Got absolutely battered, but came up in my sort of area, Christian Eriksen, because he was playing sort of floating around number 10 in around midfield.
Yeah.
He was unbelievable. You never knew where he was behind you, in front of you, wide, over there. He scored a goal or two on the night. His passing, his touch, his skill, his shooting, everything, mate. He was absolutely incredible. Christian Eriksen. Christian Eriksen. So I would say, when people ask, I got his shirt after as well. When people ask me this, I'd say him. Heung-min Son played on the night. 3 or 4 other players in that game. I played Man United a few years ago, Man City, Everton. I played some top Premier League teams. Owen got a hat-trick on that night. Mm-hmm. Rio Ferdinand played. I could go through loads in that team. Man City's team, Carlos Tevez played. Robinho, all these players. But the one who stood out, as I say, that night was Christian Eriksen. Yeah. Years and years ago, I played QPR. I say years and years ago. This one wasn't that many years ago. Years and years ago, I played Arsenal in a reserve game. And it was when they was having a bit of a transition period at Arsenal, and the likes of Ashley Cole played, Sol Campbell, Fabregas, players, and you're thinking, how you're not saying them, but the one player who stood out mainly that night was Robin van Persie. Okay. And it was when he'd only really hit the scene or played a bit. And again, with him, mate, he caught me with an elbow in the game. He's just a reserve game. His passion to win in that reserve game was like, wow, you know, you could just see a winner. And you know why these players get up. He's such a lovely fella as well, it seems, and what you hear. Yeah. But they just got that nasty winning streak in them that they just want to win all the time. And I have it a lot in myself as well. I'm a lovely kid, and I am. But when it comes to competition, I want to win. Yeah. So that stood out to me, but his ability as well. And then moving slightly in, I played QPR a few times. Adel Tarat. Yeah. He's been mentioned a few times. He's drifted out now. His ability, mate, he megged me once in a game at Loftus Road. And his ability, you looked at him and he was like, wow. Do you know what I mean? This is like bloody hell. Similar who I played with, who I nearly put in my team, or could have got in my team, J. Emmanuel Thomas. Had that sheer ability. Just like that pace, and you do stuff in training. I played with him, and it was like, wow. Like, had that sort of not freak, but just had that bit of skill that you don't always see. But Tarat had that, so did Emmanuel Thomas. Yeah. But there's been plenty, mate. There's been loads in games where someone just seems to, every time you play them, they have a good game against you. It's hard. You put me on the spot, really. But as I start, I've played against Adam Lallana was very good when we played against him, Southampton. Ricky Lambert as a big hold-up striker. But there's been loads, mate, who I think if I could really sit here and think about, but obviously the few that I've mentioned, they were the main ones. I've obviously said quite a lot. Christian Eriksen and Robin van Persie are always the two when I get asked that question. Yeah, no problems with them ones because, like I say, some top players there. Right, I'm going to take you back to the start now. He come through at Charlton. You had a couple loan spells at Barnet and Brentford. But I want to talk about, you made your debut for Charlton. That must have been, some achievement. You come through at the club. I'm not sure what age you was when you signed for Charlton, but you signed for them when you was young and come through and you make your debut. Do you remember much about that? Yeah, look, I spent many years at Charlton from, I think it was 10, 11, maybe 12 when I signed, and you get promised this, you get promised your scholarship, I got your pro, all that sort of stuff. And so I knew I was going to be at Charlton for a long time, and I should have been there longer, mate. Partly my fault stepping out of line, but also the way the club went a little bit. It was an established Premier League club when I went there, suffered relegations, changing after having such a long established manager in Kirbishley. Then Pards come in, and Pards did a very good job there, but it got a little bit messy. But the amount of managers that changed in such a quick period, it then becomes difficult. And the relegations happened. I made my debut at 18 in the Championship. I was obviously very proud of that after going on loan a couple of times. Yeah. But I turned a 3-year deal down under Pards just before he left. So that would have been, obviously, I would have spent much longer time there and would have played more games. Stepped out of line under Phil Parkinson. Regret it. Probably one of the main regrets in my career. And that sort of brought my career at Charlton to an end, if you like, and premature end. But making me debut, mate, at my club where I spent so many years and grew up, and to come through at a club is always a proud moment. And to look back and do that at 18 in what was a very good Championship, not just by name club, but with the players that were around me as well, it was a very proud moment. And I'm still very proud of it now. Annoying that I didn't play more, didn't do more, but as I say, there's reasons to that, which I just touched upon. But no, listen, it was something I'll never forget about. The loans during that played a big part. Pards said to me, get out on loan, go and learn your trade, and you're a Charlton first-team player, which I did. Had a great year at Barnet, had that short spell at Brentford the start of the next season, and 1 month in, Pards went, bang, you're coming back, you're ready to play. I think there might have been 1 or 2 injuries as well. It opened up for me. And if it wasn't for what happened with sackings and things like that, I would have played more games at that level for Charlton then. But now, listen, I can't speak highly enough of the football club of Charlton. I loved it there, and I just wish I could have played more games. Yeah, no, for sure. And, one loan I do want to mention is Gillingham, because obviously I was there at the time coming through. And, a lot of people probably won't remember about the Gillingham days. It weren't necessarily all plain sailing. I remember there being a few games you got took off early. And, League Two was a tough league probably for you to get used to at that stage. But then you certainly made up for it at Wembley, mate. I'm not sure if you did get man of the match, but you certainly mum-handed the match that day. He was absolutely superb. And what do you remember about that, playing at Wembley? Yeah, obviously, this is when it coincided with the little bit of thing that went on with Charlton. Yeah. It then was a case of, listen, you ain't going to play for us now. You've got to go out and get on loan.
Yeah.
So Mark Robson, a fantastic coach, one of the best I've worked with, called me up to go on loan there. Mark Stimpson was the manager I knew well as well growing up.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed playing under Stimo. And it was a case of they were up near the top. They just felt they might have needed a little bit more to get them over the line. So I think there was one other as well, but certainly I came in on loan and had the back end of the season, 12, 14 games, and it was all just like, wow, big whirlwind. We started to hit the ground running.
Yeah, I remember.
Picked up some good results. As you say, the first game, one of the first games, never went that well against Barnet. I think we got beat at home.
Yeah.
And it just took some time to get going at League Two level, where I was used to a lot more of having the ball on the deck, playing a little bit more,
that's what I meant,
better players around me. It took time to adjust. But after so long, really got going. And then we knew we had a good chance of making the playoffs. And you look forward to what I'd never done before in terms of playing in the playoffs.
Mm.
So that came quite quickly. We played Rochdale last game of the season, and we got Rochdale in the double-header, the home and away leg in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And they were tough games, Flitcroft's and Keith Hill's teams. Very, very tough game. A little bit of to do with the managers, like with Stimo as well, again. So it was a rivalry. And we got through those and then ended up playing at Wembley, mate. And Wembley was an absolute dream come true. Really, as you say, it was a very hot day. I had a lot of family there. I think the pitch suited me. There was a lot more passing, a lot more space, and I just had a really good game. I did get one or two man of the matches, obviously a few man of the matches on the day. Kingy had a very good game as well with centre half. Yeah, I was on the floor, mate. Come the end, 90th minute, I was gone, and I was looking over thinking, I'm not sure if I've got extra time in me. I was still a youngish kid. Hadn't had a full season, and I was starting to blow up. And I remember that corner in the 92nd minute, whatever it was. And I genuinely thought, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to reach here. And I just thought it worked on a few corners. I knew the area to hit. I picked the area and I just hit it as sweet as I could. And Simeon Jackson, who was a top striker as well, great finisher, peeled off, nodded it in with his head, just went over the line. And I just remember running up and down, burning the rest of my energy, running up in some part of the family to the dugout and back. And the adrenaline took us over. And when that final whistle went, it was one of the best days of my life. And what a day playing at Wembley. And listen, if any player's lucky enough, which a lot do, a lot don't, to play at Wembley, it's a fantastic occasion and an occasion I'll certainly never forget.
Yeah, not for sure. I remember seeing all the Wright clan with their shirts on that day. Must have cost you a fortune, mate, getting all them shirts done. Right, so I think it was that summer you leave Charlton. You touched on it. I don't know if you want to touch on it a bit more. You leave Charlton and head to Scunthorpe, who are in the Championship. So it was a great move. How did that come about?
Yeah, as I say, I could have stayed at Charlton. Probably should have in a way. They went League One. Scunthorpe went up to the Championship. I was about to sign for QPR under Jim McGilton. That never quite took place. And then Nigel Adkins approached us and had an opportunity to go and play in a Championship. I could have stayed more local to home with other options, but it was a case of, you know what, an opportunity here. It was Championship football. You never promised football. I knew I had a chance of going to play a lot of games, and I ended up going to clock up 70, 80 games at Championship level. And it was a fantastic learning curve under a fantastic manager that suited me at the time. I turned from a boy to a man. It was difficult off the pitch. I had to learn a lot. I struggled at the start with adjusting to being on my own and being a long way away from home. But as I say, it taught me all sorts. It's probably the real spell at the back end of it where I was like, right, diet, nutrition, training, extra gym, stuff like that is so important, and adjusted my lifestyle. But those 2 seasons in the Championship, priceless. Beat teams like Newcastle, West Brom, to say the least, if you like, out of so many others. And we stayed up that first year. Second year went a little bit wobbly because Nigel got a move to Southampton and a few different managers coming, Ian Barraclough, and then another towards the end. And I had made my mind up. Again, they'd offered me a very, very good contract to stay, but just personally, I couldn't stay. I was ready to come home. I'd done me 2 years and I was ready to go. Difficult to turn down, but no, 2 great years, and I really enjoyed my spells at 2 years at Scunthorpe, and look back at it and think played a massive part in my career. Yeah,
no, for sure. Right. On that, I think you only scored 1 goal for Scunthorpe, but I'll let you off because it was against Man United. Now, that's my next question. What was your favourite goal? The one against Man United or the one for Millwall, the Buddy Ollie against Turf Moor?
The Millwall one was a better finish. Millwall one's the best I've ever scored. And the one against United, it was on the TV. It was against Man United. I think that one probably just fits it. Only just, but both great strikes, both great finishes. I played a lot deeper in those days, and especially under Scunthorpe. Pards did it to me at Charlton. He used to say, because you're so good on the ball, I like to get on it, play that more sitting role. Probably got pigeonholed a little bit too early in the career, hence why I've scored more goals as my career's gone on. But yeah, both of them, both very good goals. I'd probably say I enjoyed the Scunthorpe one a little bit more, but the Millwall one was a better finish. It was one of them that you could do 50 times and only catch it sweet once or twice.
Yeah, no, agree with that. Agree with that. Right, that leads us on then to your time at Millwall. How did you find life down the Den, mate?
Yeah, listen, Millwall, proper football club, great fan base. First couple of years, really enjoyed, really went well, really good under Kenny Jackett, especially the first season and a half, what I touched upon earlier on a little bit. I had some good moments there, I had some bad moments. I love playing at the Den. I love representing Millwall home and away, as I say, with the fan base and the passion and drive that they've got. And listen, I enjoyed it. It got a little bit messy towards the end when it got a little bit messy under Kenny, to be fair, before he left. But then he brought me back in. He broke my heart not taking me to Wembley after playing such a part in that FA Cup run, playing pretty much all the games and then getting left behind. I don't know what happened there. He just went off me for a little bit. I had a bad game, I'm not afraid to say, at home to Wolves. Yeah. And still didn't expect to see it come, but it did. But that happens in football. I came back in, played a big part in us staying up against Crystal Palace at home. Had a very good game. Yeah. Derby away. There was a few games that I came back in for. And then it just got a little bit messy with Steve Lomas coming in. He went a different route, different type of play style. Yeah. And then it went on from there. And I was playing catch-up when Ian Holloway come in, who should have worked out well for me. But Ollie never suited the club Millwall itself. So it never really suited me at times. Because he tried signing me, Ollie, a couple of times and really liked me when he was at Blackpool, when I went to the Prem as well, would you believe, and I never signed there. But which I could have ended up playing in the Premier League, but that's hindsight, you never know that. Yeah. And as I say, which is another thing with Charlton, when I was on the bench in the Premier League and being around, it was a fantastic time as well with Charlton. I've never got to get on the pitch, but warmed up and stuff like that. Yeah. But yeah, Millwall, it come to a bit of a premature end with a couple of loan spells just because I had to go and play, and ended up, I wasn't probably a Millwall type player, but we went to try a different route. But the spells that I did, I adjusted, and some loved me. I think some hated me, but at the same time, I enjoyed playing for Millwall and representing them, and it's something I'm very proud of. Yeah, no, certainly most Millwall fans I speak to hold you in high regard, and you know, like I say, like at any football club, there's always going to be people not happy. Right? What Wembley appearance did he not take you on, by the way? Forget that. FA Cup semi-final against Wigan. Okay. What? So you played in the previous rounds as well, yeah? Yeah, I played most of the previous rounds, certainly appearances, and he just game or two before started leaving me out and didn't take me to that. Not afraid to say, brought a tear to my eye when it was the day of the game. And, I chose not to watch the game just because I couldn't. Of course, mate. No, it must have been difficult to get through that one. Right, we'll move on then to your second time round with Gills. Sort of into two, break this sort of question into two, really. First season, you nearly made the playoffs, unbelievable season. And obviously you start your friendship and relationship with Justin Edinburgh, God rest his soul. And then second season, you decide to start scoring goals. What changed there? And I remember, I think it was 2 goals away to Sheffield United, a brace, and then a hat-trick of penalties in 8 minutes at home to Scunthorpe. So if you want to talk us through sort of them 2 seasons, mate, that'd be great. Sure, the Gillingham one, those couple of years, certainly the first year up there is the best in my career, just on the pitch, off the pitch, around the place, just day-to-day stuff. Justin, obviously, bless him, talking about him now, without a doubt, the favourite manager I've played under, got so much out of me day-to-day and on match days. Yeah. David Kerslake, assistant, played a huge part in me going there. And the rest become history, really. I was nearly going to Chicago Fire. Flight was booked to go to the MLS and got a late call on a Saturday evening at a barbecue to go in there Monday morning and hit the ground running early. Got the deal done not long after, a week or two. And just really, really enjoyed it. We had a good balance in the team of youth and experience. It was the year Dacky was on fire. Yeah. And I just loved playing under Justin. He was a top manager, but also a top man. And so many players felt like that under him, and it was just an enjoyment to play under him. And Kurz as a coach, one of the best I've ever worked with as well. And it was just, everything just clicked. But I played at the bottom of a diamond a lot that year, so I was very, very holding and very rarely got forward. So I think I nicked a goal or two, a couple of goals that season. I'm pretty sure. Did I get a couple 2 or 3 that year?
Yeah.
And then the start of the next year under Justin, got a few more. So they started putting me in the box from set plays and things like that. But it's a tragedy how we didn't make playoffs that year. It'd go up for one, but then certainly make playoffs. We were top 2 for so long and top 6, 7, whatever it was, for pretty much up until the last 2 games. And we just blew up. We just needed a bit of backing in January. 1 or 2 fresh players, 1 or 2 more players with maybe a bit of experience and ability to take us over the line. It never quite happened. The club took a chance and it sort of backfired, and how we didn't do it haunts me now. But that's life. And then we started the second season and the club really backed us the second season. We brought in some big name players, Paul Konjeski, J.M. Thomas, Frank Nublet. There are a few. There was more to come as well, and Billy Knott. And we did okay. We started fine. Listen, Justin and Kerr's got the sack. I don't know why, but they did. We probably were slightly underachieving, but we're still well in the hunt to be able to have a good season. They got sacked quite early, but I was already on 3-4 goals by the time they did, as I say. I was starting to be put in the box a little bit more. And then Adi Pennock took over, and he just changed my role. It was just like he didn't see me as a holding player. He said, took the reins off me, if you like, go and get in the box. And I started getting in the box, taking penalties as well, in the box from set plays, and just eye for the goal. When I was a young kid, I used to play sort of off the front man or up front or more attacking, and started getting some goals. And once you start clicking into that groove, it's like London buses. They one comes after another, and everything I seemed to it started scoring. As you touched upon there, Sheffield United, a brace. It was a very, very, very good day, especially with where they were. They were about to get promoted again, obviously, and end up in the Premier League. The hat-trick of penalties against one of my old clubs, Scunthorpe, is probably something that will never happen to me again, especially in the time.
Happen to anyone. Probably won't happen to anyone again.
No, I think R9's the only other player it's happened to, apparently. But the fact it was 8, you say, or 11 minutes, it was a freakish moment. I didn't even have time to think about it. I was nervous on the last one. I nearly gave the last one away. Said I won the penalty as well. Just where I'd taken 2, I was like all ready to take the second one.
It must have been so weird.
Yeah, with all the homework and studying the keepers do, it's like I'd have to take a third one again. I was like, how can I not? And I just decided where I was going to go. I think I sent him the wrong way. It wasn't actually the cleanest of pens, but I sent him the wrong way, and that's why it was like that. And that was a history moment, and something I was very proud of.
Of course. Right, see, just on that then.
I love it.
You said you was close to going to Chicago before you joined Gillingham. I was wondering, how close was it?
Flight was booked, paid, done, going on the Monday. Things would have got sorted as I got there, or within that week. There's obviously a little bit more complications with it being in America. But I was gone, mate. I was done. As close as you could be. I was 24 hours, 36 hours away from going. Just fancied a change. Had an opportunity. Yeah. Mark Bircham, I keep mentioning him, another top coach I was at Millwall with under Holloway. And he was out there, Chicago Fire. He liked me as a player. I worked well with him, and it was all going to happen. It was all in place. And so as close as you could be, really.
Yeah, to be fair, mate, it might have been a good thing. Birchie took me to the States, and that was the last time I played professionally. So, but no, that weren't his fault. What I was going to say, just on that, then. So I suppose at the end of the day, you didn't go to Chicago, but you're saying you probably had the best years of your career at Gillingham. So, like I say, everything happens for a reason, doesn't it? I was going to ask on that. Would do you think that's something maybe in the future going abroad? Would that something that appeal to you? That's something that you want to do?
Yeah, I think, listen, if you'd played Premier League or top level for still playing it all your career and you're still going 30, 31, 2, 3, 4, and you can start at that level or just slowly drop. But where I've done floating around the Prem as a kid and on the bench and stuff, but I've done Championship, League 1, League 2. If I could stay at this sort of level I'm at now and keep playing and it suits me and my family location-wise, then I'd be happy to stay in the English leagues. But I always consider the possibility of going to not many places, mainly only America. I'd like to give the States a little go. So it's certainly something I'd consider, mate. Yeah, if it came up and there was an opportunity, certainly something I'd consider.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that'll be one you won't regret. Right, I've got to mention Bradford because I'm intrigued from a selfish point of view to know myself. I thought you going up there was going to be a fantastic move. You know, big club. You said before that you like the pressure. I think you was made captain, and even looking at it from a pal of yours, looking at you signing up there, I think you signed some other good players in Sean Scannell, Owen Doyle, Jack Payne. I actually, shows how much I know on the betting side of it, I was actually tipping you guys for promotion. So I was just intrigued to know, like, what went wrong up there, Josh?
Loads, mate. The place is toxic. The fans vent against the owner, or the owners at the time. One of them owners is now gone. So it was always a losing battle, mate. I then got given the armband. So it was then the easy scapegoat. Boy from down south, blonde hair, blue eyes, got the armband on, your captain. The managerial appointment, the fans weren't happy with, so they were on him straight away. He was young, it was new, it was obviously a big risk. And everyone struggled, mate. Everyone suffered from number one all the way through to your youngest player that played. Everyone struggled one way or another. I had a lot taken out on me because the reasons I just said. It never really got going. The fans were angry. The fans were just hard work. And it got worse and worse. That manager got sacked. The new one come in who hated me from day one. I was 2-0 up in my first game under him, pulled my hamstring, injured for 5-6 weeks, come back. He started playing me in all sorts of positions. He never loved me. I weren't his type. I don't know why he was so against me. It was half a bit of bullying, if you like. In the end, I held strong. The stuff he put me through and made me do, mate, should never, ever happen in football. Yeah. It's wrong. I've said a little bit since in interviews, and I will have my piece on it and say it. But it became bad. It became nasty. And by the time he went, Gary Bowyer come in, very, very good manager, good guy, brought me back into the fold. I was playing catch-up again, clocked up some games towards the end of the season, but my decision was made by them, mate. It was I weren't happy up there. I didn't enjoy it because of it all, and the opportunity come to be able to sign for a great man in Justin back at Leyton Orient on my doorstep. Bradford looked like they were going down, did go down. I weren't going to turn it down back at the same league, in the same league. So I chose that opportunity. It was just a difficult time, mate, but a time that could never have turned around. I was always fighting a losing battle. Yeah, no, I'm sorry to hear that, mate, because like I say, and I'm sure anyone who watches this podcast and anyone who knows you like how I do and other people... Great club, mate.
Yeah, great. Yeah, no, it's a great club. Played there myself. But
great club, big football club. Would love to have it worked out. Shame it didn't. Proud to have captained them, played for them, but just didn't work out for all sorts of reasons.
Yeah, no problem. Like I say,
Brooms, can I quickly go to the toilet? I'll be literally 1 minute. Breaking my neck, mate, sitting here. Hang on.
I'll go piss myself as well then.
I'm back, mate.
No problem, mate. I might have to get my man to edit that one, to be fair. I think he keeps saying he likes it looking natural, but I think that might literally, excuse the pun, that might be taking the piss a little bit, that one. I'll get him to edit it up. But no, Josh, on that, I was going to say, from my point of view, very sorry to hear that, because I thought that was something that could have suited you up there. And like I say, anyone who knows you as well as I do, or people I'm sure know you better than me, and I'm sure now, having watched his podcast, they'll know how serious you are and how much of a good professional you are. So,
it's football, mate. I appreciate that.
Yeah, exactly. Right, so after an experience like that, then of course, it makes sense to go back and work with someone and you trust, and obviously
Rooms. We had the Southend one before it though.
Oh, go on, Southend. Yeah, go on then. I've missed one out. Go on, Southend.
We touched quickly on it. It was a short spell. Should have been longer. Signed under Phil Brown. Very, very good manager. I played a different type of role with him. Tucked in from the right. But he knew I had a lot in my legs, very fit, and liked to get forward with the goals from the season before. Yeah. And I had a very good contract. And as you've seen with the financial side of things at Southend at the moment, they had to be seen to be cutting back and saving things. And I had another game in my contract. If it kicked in, triggered another year on even better money than what I was on. And they knew that. They see that. Phil Brown got the sack. I caught him at the end of his career at Southend because he had a great spell there and just become a bit sour. When Chris Powell came in, they knew that. They knew the case. I've heard the story since, and the truth. They had to look to make cutbacks, so they never triggered that other year. So I didn't play the last so many games, although I tore my hamstring bad just before Phil Brown got sacked. And the only injuries I've had, that hamstring I mentioned at Bradford, which was the back end of this one. Yeah. After I got going again, and the one at Southend, but where I was doing so much high speed running. So when Chris Powell came in, I was already injured. Yeah. Played the couple of games. He pulled me and said, another game or two, this contract triggers. I'm a bit like, my hands are tied, not a lot I can do. And that's why it comes short. But I enjoyed the spell at Southend, Essex club, had a very good core of senior players. few of them more. I've mentioned a couple in my team, but a few more of them could have got in these teams here.
Yeah.
Anthony Wordsworth, Ben Coker,
Yeah.
Michael Timlin, Jason Demetrio. There was a few of them, mate, very, very, very good players. And as I say, could have got in. But now, listen, enjoyed my time there. Shame it got cut short, but that's why it did. And then I ended up at Bradford. But I thought I'd just throw that one in there, mate. And I enjoyed my time there. Should have been longer, but it wasn't.
Yeah, no, thanks for pulling me up there. They wouldn't have forgiven me there, the old Southend fans, would they? To be fair, though, with that, it happens a lot more than what people think. People who are not involved in football in terms of, triggering that extra year contract with the games. It happens a lot more than people think, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely, mate. It's happened. I've had it a few times.
Yeah.
I've had it. Where else? I had it. Was it the Charlton one? With the spell, but I've had it there. Scunthorpe again. It was going to happen towards the end. In the end, I'd said that I was leaving, even though I turned down a very good 2 or 3 year deal. But yeah, the Southend one, mate, was as evident as it could be, and it happens a lot. Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Signing a good agent, mate. The old man must have still been doing your contracts then, though.
Yeah, it's actually the actual agent.
Right, no, look, we spoke about the Bradford one then. Like I say, I was just about to say before you said about the Southend one, after an experience like that, I'm sure, of course, it makes sense to go and work with someone, and trust, and at a club that's close to home. So, it must have been sort of a perfect fit, dream come true, if you like, to go back and work with Justin at Leyton Orient. And, heartbreakingly, I'm sure everyone knows only too well that, only one of them come true with a tragic passing of Justin, a man I know myself really well and top person. Just going to ask on that, mate, just touch on it. How difficult was that period for you, mate? How difficult was it for you?
Yeah, I tell you what, it was a period that you can't really explain. Like, it was like, how do you put it? Like it was fake, like it wasn't real, and it still doesn't feel real now. Do you know what I mean? To be coming back home, to be signing for a club that's so close to my heart, for one, so close to home, and signing for my favourite ever manager. And I'm like, oh, here we go, after such a tough year, it's all back. And then to be his last signing, and then what happened, mate, was, you can use so many words, heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It was scary. It was shocking. You just can't explain it. I had my moments like everyone did, and it was very, very difficult to deal with. And I actually think we were dealing with it. We've dealt with it the whole time, and we suffered as a club, as a team throughout this whole season. And we'd have probably done even better, even though we've stabilised, and credit to the players and Ross, the manager, and everyone else associated with the club. But it was just a moment that you'd see boys getting upset, fully grown men upset, boys distancing themselves, didn't know how to handle it, taking it home with them, being at the training ground. And it was just relentless, and a time that just hurt you every single day, every single game. And a moment that I don't think we'll ever have to deal with again, and something you couldn't write, And as I say, heartbreaking, gutting, and we'll never get over it, and still feel the pain now, mate, every day. I'm close with, obviously, the family as well, close with Charlie, his son. We're now very, very good friends, best of friends. And it's horrible, mate, but something we've had to get on with. It's made us stronger people, but it's a tragedy and something that should never, ever happen to anyone. You know what I mean?
No, for sure, mate. Like I say, I had a good relationship with Justin myself and his family, and nowhere near as close as you are. And so I can't imagine how much more difficult it must have been for you. And it's a real tough one, mate. Thanks for a little bit of an insight on that. Right, the future with Leyton Orient, the future for you. The future, mate. Future after football for you. How do you see it? Yeah,
look, I'm loving my spell at Orient, albeit what happened. Got some goals this season, top goal scorer as things stands, whether it continues or ends. Played pretty much every minute of every game, been injury free, all other than getting fatigued and a little bit tired back end of this last, before the season stopped. Love the club, love the fans, love the owners, love the team, the squad, the staff, everything. Really enjoying my time there. Would love to stay there for a long time. I've got another year after this season. Please God, I can extend that at some stage. Everything suits at the club in terms of where I live, the location for me, my missus, the family.
Yeah.
So long may that continue. As long as I can keep playing and staying fit and healthy and clocking up the games, who knows what age I can get to. I look after myself, I'm fit. Mm-hmm. I feel good. I feel as strong as ever. So hopefully that can go on after football. Who knows what age that will be. I'm doing my badges. I've done my UEFA B. I will do my A. I debated it this summer. That won't happen now, but for obvious reasons. I will probably look into hopefully doing that during next season or the season this summer after that. I think I've got too much knowledge and too much to offer not to give the managerial side of things a go.
Yeah.
I'd love to give the manager a go. I love football. I love giving ideas, love helping people. I feel like I've got a good opinion. Coaching, possibly, more so managing, or link both into it.
Yeah.
I think you can be both, one or the other. I just would like to be the number one, if you like, one way or another, whether that be a head coach or a manager. As I say, I feel like it'd be a waste to waste everything I know and done in the game to just completely come out of it. Who knows if I do? Will I hit the ground running? Will I stay in it? It can turn like that, as your career can. Yeah. It's a worry because you can easily fall out of it unless you're a big name in the game. I think you've got to hit the ground running to start, or you've got to start low and build yourself up and get a base and a foundation. If it isn't that, I'd love to do the media side of it, the punditry, TV work, radio. Just stay in the game one way or another, mate. I love it. I hate when it's not on. I miss it. I love talking about it. So one way or another, mate, I'd love to stay in the game, and they're my plans. That's what I'd like to do, but also with the possibility of having a few things on the side to fall back on. Yeah, no, certainly, mate, and I agree with you there. I think whatever you go on to do, you'll be a success at, because, you know, very professional person, and you talk very well. But we'll say, get yourself over to the States, mate. Have at least one season over there. Trust me, you won't regret. No, I think so, mate. I think that could happen. I'm involved now with my brother doing we've got a fitness regime and nutrition side of things. We've got something we're trying to set up, which we are setting up. So that's something that I'd like to continue. I love my training. I love staying fit and strong. I love helping people. So that's one thing. But yeah, in the meantime, play as many games as I can in English football. Yeah. Possibly have the year or two in America or somewhere else to say that I've done it, and then come back and hopefully become a manager, mate, or something in the game that I can take on and for the rest of my days in work, if you like, and in life. Perfect, mate. Perfect. Right, one last thing before I let you go. It's been great speaking to you and catching up from a selfish point of view, Josh. And also, you know, I'm sure a lot of the fans tuning in, whether it be Southend, Gillingham, Orient, whoever it may be, Charlton fans, I'm sure they've really enjoyed this. I think I mentioned at the start, that's one of the main reasons why I've done these podcasts and set them up. And so far, fingers crossed, they've been going well. The other reason is obviously for the youngsters of the game, if they're watching, to get the advice from players like yourself who have been there and done it. I was just going to ask, last question really, if you could only give one piece of advice to the youngsters who are watching on, what would it be? The one word that always springs to mind is, if you've got the ability, the drive, the desire, the work ethic, the determination, all these words, right? If you're good enough and fortunate enough to become a footballer, one thing is, make sure you enjoy it. That's the number one on the top priority. If you don't enjoy it, you don't get the real you, like in anything in life, but you don't get the best of you out of you, and then there's no point doing it. If you're not enjoying it, there's no point in doing it. So that's the main thing I'd say at the top of it. But to give advice to youngsters is, I once was told it's a short career and it goes quickly, and I can't believe how quick it does go. Yeah. There's highs, there's lows, there's enjoyments, there's difficulties, whatever else you want to way look at it. But always give yourself every single chance. So work hard, look after yourself on and off the pitch. If I could go back to some things and try and change things and think, what could I have done? One thing I always try and say to myself is, you gave it your all. I gave myself every opportunity, every chance. Now, early days, maybe not, but over the last so many years, I give myself every opportunity to be the best, to look back with no regrets. So just work hard, try your best. It's hard enough to become a footballer, but even harder to stay in the game. Yeah. It's a difficult game. So just always give yourself every opportunity to be the best you can be and to look back with no regrets. So that's what I would say, mate. Yeah, no, that's perfect, mate. And similar to what, a lot of other people I've had on here said, some of these youngsters might not like to hear it, but hard work seems to be the common denominator, Massively, mate. If you don't work hard, someone with less ability will end up overtaking you, and bang, before you know it, you fall behind. You have to work hard. You have to drive yourself. As I say, give yourself every opportunity and try and better yourself every single day, literally. Yeah. Perfect, mate. Thanks for that. And like I say, I think, to be fair, I might have to swerve you and your brother's fitness regime. I don't want to be going on a screen on Zoom we used to. Wait, now I've come on for you. You're going to come on for us in the next few weeks. When all this lockdown's over, I've seen you doing a bit of training and running. When this is all over, you're coming on. We're going to get you on.
Perfect, mate. Listen, Righty, thanks so much for coming on. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And yeah, like I say, top man, mate. Catch up soon, yeah?
Thank you for having me on, pal. All the best with it, yeah? Stay safe, stay healthy, and say hello to the family for me.
Thanks, Josh, and you, mate. See you soon, mate.